get a full
Welcome, everybody, to episode 103 of the effing title. And this week we have the divisional round. And I'm here with my guests, Scratchy, Jeff, Rob, Veg.
Still no shirt.
Since when did we get 5 people on this show?
I don't know. Boys, how you doing?
More the merrier. The more the merrier.
How are we doing today, boys?
Doing great.
I want to
doing
marry
great.
around once. Wasn't a fan.
Big games.
All right,
Let's go.
This should be a relatively quick podcast.
Joke. Ew.
Joke's on you. This is going to be the longest one. We are breaking down positionally every game.
Done.
All right, so Fedge COVID, anything?
Yeah, they don't even test anymore.
Yeah, weren't we actually just talking? No, actually, me and my other buddy were talking about this.
Well,
I don't think they test
his other
anymore.
buddies.
We're in the playoffs now. There's no more testing. COVID's not a thing in the playoffs, apparently. Obviously a joke or something. No, seriously though. Have you guys heard of any COVID news since the playoffs started?
Bro, I'm going to tell you right now, it felt like it was that 1 week where everyone was dead, and then there's been nothing.
Well, see, that's the thing is the NFL also has what?
You can't get the Optimus Prime variant more than once. So once you've got it, it's gone.
Well, the thing is seriously though, in all reality, is the way it works in the NFL is once you get it, you're on a 90-day no test unless you have symptoms. So they're not randomly testing a lot of these players anymore because they've already got it. Like you said, because of the outbreak they had earlier in the year, no one's getting tested as much. So it's kind of crazy.
All right. Well, let's look at the standings right now. Fedge has a commanding 14-point lead at 174 to 104. I'm trailing behind with 160, 118, and from the Scratchy is in last with 143, 127. But Scratchy has also made it obviously clear to everyone that he does not give a shit because he still does not have a shirt.
He does not care.
I will say this. I did just find this really cool chart by Sharp Football Analysis that shows, according to this past Monday, okay. So the 17th, there were 50 positive cases in the NFL of COVID. I don't know if that means playoff teams or whatnot, but that's
the thing is you probably don't hear about it if it's not a playoff team.
Yeah,
that's down 250 from December 30th. So yeah, it's gone down quite a bit.
Gone down a couple, 2, 3.
Oh wait, no, actually it says right here, players on it. Okay, Cardinals, they're out. Give me the alphabetical order of the teams remaining.
Bengals, Bills, Bucks.
It goes by this actual city.
I don't fucking know. I don't do that. I do it by team.
Buffalo has no one.
Buffalo, Cincinnati.
Buffalo has no one on it. Cincinnati has 4 people were on it as of the 10th. 7 people were on it as of the 10th, but it looks like they were removed as of the 10th. Sorry, so no one.
The 10th was 10 days ago. There, boss.
That's when they were removed, so never mind. So there's only one player that wasn't removed from that list. So since he's got one player, and that is Akeem Davis, they have not been removed yet.
Akeem Davis. Kansas City. Oh wait, does G come before K?
Packers. Someone was just removed on Monday, Lucas Patrick. Everyone else is good. Kansas City. You guys want to hear about the Jaguars? Kansas City has 2 people on. Mark Vital and Joshua Jackson, a tight end and a DB. Yep. They have not been removed. What's there? The Rams.
Yeah, we got Rams, Niners, Bucks, Titans.
Rams are good.
Did we go through Green Bay?
Yes, they had no one on it. Let's see. So now, not the Jets, not the Eagles. Steelers suck. Niners have 3 people who have not been removed. Lukeman Barku, Josh Hockett, and Tyler Bray.
Oh, good old Tyler Bray.
And nope. Tampa Bay Buccaneers are all good. And the Titans have Jordan Wilkins, one of the running backs, which could be a big deal if Henry doesn't play.
Okay.
That's it. So no big names, which makes sense since we haven't heard anything. That's all.
All right, so there we go. So pretty nice. Every team should basically be at full health, other than and if there's injured players on the teams.
Besides the Chiefs, who just had one of their linebackers arrested last night.
Oh. Well, fuck them. Let's get on to the matchups, shall we? We got the Bengals taking on the Titans.
Talk about last week. I just have one quick thought about last week.
Last week, quick hit thoughts. Go.
It's quick hit thought.
Okay.
Kingsbury should be fired. We've already talked about this. He's very disappointing in a very high-powered team.
Colin, go before you finish it. Colin, what was the stat that you sent out?
So, yeah, let me find it real quick. So there was a stat that I found online recently that says falling off the cliff. Cliff Kingsbury's end to the season when he's a head coach. So this is going from 2013 down to most recently. Lost 5 of 6, 4 of 6, 4 of 6, 6 of 8, 6 of 8, 5 of 5, 7 of 9, 5 of 7, 5 of 6. Basically, at the end of the season, he's going to lose.
So I told Colin what the Cardinals need to do is they need to have 2 head coaches. Hire Cliff Kingsbury to coach the first 10 games because they'll be really good. And then at week 10, hire Brian Flores because his teams finish strong, but they start terrible. And Brian Flores will take over for the remainder of the season.
See, we're innovators over here. 2 head coaches.
And who knows? Maybe they'll be good. Teams will have no idea what's going on at the midpoint of the year when they completely change everything.
I love it.
So how's this year been for you, Kyler? We got 3 different playbooks. I don't know what's going on.
I'm already calling it right now. Kyler's jumping ship. He's going back to the MLB. He's done with the NFL. That's his lock of the week.
Well, I would say this. I've been seeing a lot more articles saying that recently, and I find it hilarious.
Lock of the year.
Lock of the fucking year.
I start next year with a +10 if he goes back and plays baseball.
Oh.
I think a lot of it's going to come down to who the head coach is. Who they hire will have a big impact on that.
Well, how long did they sign Cliffsbury for?
Who cares?
He's gone.
For coaches, they can fire them.
Oh, of course, I understand that, but I'm just saying, like, I don't think they're going to fire him.
Honestly, they may not because I know he's had his struggles, but
he's
been the head coach, they've become relevant again.
Well, that's the thing is that they went from 5-10 to 8-8 to 9-.
Since he's become a head coach, or since you got Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins and now James Conner rushing for 18, 19 touchdowns this year. Like,
yeah.
The talent you have on that roster, you should be able to win games. Like, I don't freaking care.
I agree. It is a players' league.
Bring in David Culley, and David Culley would still be in the playoffs right now.
I do.
Flop him and Kingsbury. Kingsbury wins maybe a game in Houston.
I do agree. I think the bigger picture with that one is it's not so much that they lost. It's the way that they finished their season where as soon as DeAndre Hopkins gets hurt, you all of a sudden can't score points. Forget points. You can't move the ball. They didn't get past midfield until halfway through the third quarter. Like,
I mean, you could just see how tentative Murray was. Like, he was, when quarterbacks, like, it's not an actual pump fake, but when they pull the ball back, there's issues.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. They're not seeing things. They're not trusting what they see, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
I mean, and honestly, Kyler can't really see anyway because he's like 5'2". So, fuck.
Along that
line,
so I actually go to a different team for my botchery of the week, and that is the Dallas Cowboys.
Yep, I was about to. That was going to be mine.
And I know it won't happen, but first off, Dak Prescott's a scumbag for what he said after the game.
What did he say after the game?
After the game, so he was upset because fans were throwing like garbage and shit at the players, is what he was told.
Yeah.
Then a reporter went, no, they were throwing it at the refs. And he went, oh, good. They deserve that. It's like, no, bro, your team's undisciplined.
Jesus.
And it starts with leadership, and you're not a leader. So
I will say this. I meant to send you guys it. There was a clip of them throwing this stuff, and I think, do they still have DeMarcus Lawrence?
Yeah, was it Lawrence or Gregory that got hit or with his helmet?
Gregory.
Yeah, he hit someone with
one
his
of those
helmet.
things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I saw that. And I
one
was
of
like,
those
I kind of saw that. And I was like, okay, that was kind of cool. For some reason, it just looked cool.
Yeah, it was one of those guys. I don't remember which one it was, but yeah.
But that's wild, though. I didn't know that he said that afterwards. Shit.
Yeah. Oh, let's be honest,
I
they were throwing it at the
say
players.
this, though, for the NFL, the first Super Wild Card weekend was a giant failure.
That was my thing. Is I was gonna. That's one of mine. Is like there was no reason to have a game on Monday night.
Forget that. There were only 2 close games. You wanted to do this whole thing about adding an extra week and adding a playoff team, having one bye, and you had 2 close games the entire time.
Yeah, it definitely like what you've been saying all season as well. Though this definitely was the year where there was the lines for definitive, like this is a good team and the other teams are just okay.
Yeah.
That line was very strongly drawn this year.
There was no difference. I mean, if this was a normal year, the 3 seed should crush the 6 seed, and the 4 and the 5 should be close games. Well, guess what? All the 3s crushed the 7s.
Mm-hmm.
And then the problem was LA crushed the Cardinals. Tampa, that game wasn't as close as the score says. Tampa crushed the Eagles. Like, Buffalo embarrassed the Patriots. There's too many. The NFL's not deep enough for this many playoff teams.
Yeah.
It made the regular season more exciting, but the first week of the playoffs, I thought, really took a hit because of this.
Okay, that's fair. All right, so divisional matchups. We started off Saturday. Bengals at Titans.
I can go first.
Well, I just want to, before I make my pick, Rob was talking a lot about this, and it's depending a lot on health of a lot of different people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, starting with obviously the one everyone wants to see, Derrick Henry. Even though Rob and I were talking, and it's going to depend more on AJ Brown and Julio Jones on the outside, and that's what this game is going to come down to: is who's coming in healthy. I think the Titans, if they can control the ball, will be better, but it's one of those sayings where if whoever holds the ball last is going to be winning this game, except if you're the Titans because you can't score fast.
Yeah.
So by that logic, I'm going to go with the young buck Joe Burrow. And personally,
but again, I don't even think it's the Titans' health though. I mean, the Bengals' D line is completely beat up. Trey Hendrickson is still questionable if he's going to play. He was their sack leader this year. I think at one point they said during the game he had like a 10-game sack streak.
Something like that. There was some sort of he had some streak that was like no one knew it was going on, but it was happening.
Yeah. Jermaine Pratt's out. Sam Hubbard got beat up. So I mean, and obviously against a team like the Titans, who they're just going to physically wear you out. Mm-hmm. Missing a middle linebacker and 2 DNs is pretty important against a team like the Titans. So hopefully the Bengals offense is hopefully Joe Burrow, they got their jitters out against the Raiders and they can actually show up and play, because otherwise I don't see them being able to hold the Titans to under 21 points.
Okay. See, we're going with the.
No, with that said, I do think. Again, this pick comes if Julio Jones is healthy and AJ Brown are healthy. I think the Titans win in a landslide. I think they blow them out. If they are not healthy, I think the Bengals win. But because I have to make a pick, I'm gonna go on the sense that all 3 of the Titans players will be healthy, but they won't be ready to play. And they will take a half to actually wake up. And I think the Bengals offense is too good if they got the jitters out. If they're still playing like they did against the Raiders, then they'll lose. But I'm going to pick the Bengals and Joe Burrows for the upset.
Yeah, no, this is one of those weird ones, right? Where it's like you have the Titans, which are just the run heavy team, just just overall just a solid team versus a very hot Bengals team. With what you guys have said with injuries and everything. I'm going to go with the hot hand as well. I'm going to go Bengals. They've looked good down the stretch, and they won their first playoff game in how many years? Like they have all the momentum in the world right now.
I mean, the only comparable team they've played to the Titans would probably be the 49ers, and that was over a month ago, and that was an overtime game. So you expect it to be a close game just because the Titans, again, if everyone's healthy, can play keep away from that Bengals offense. And it's going to be interesting to see how the Bengals decide to attack them if they also try to control the ball to keep their defense off the field, or if they stick with their ways the last few weeks of we're explosive. We're going to go out there and be explosive. We're going to spread the field. We're going to throw the rock, and we're going to give Joe Mixon space to run.
Yeah. Second game of Saturday, we got 49ers at Packers.
I think this is the best of the weekend.
See, I like it's one of those things like we were saying about how like the super wild card, whatever the fuck bullshit they wanted to market it as this year was like not that good. I feel like this week though, the divisional round is really good.
Well, I mean that's the thing is it comes down to this is what it should have been though. You know what I mean? Like it's just the teams that
now we're starting to get to the point where
the better teams won this past week. I mean I don't think anyone can argue that. You know what I mean? And now you're into the round where you're back to the top, teams that we were talking about. So,
I mean, I can sit here and say I truly believe these are the best 8 teams in football. The only one that's a question mark to me is if the Cowboys had a different head coach, they would probably be. But because talent-wise, I think they're better. But I think these are probably the 8 best teams in football.
Yeah. I agree with that.
This one's interesting because I'm assuming Green Bay is they're gonna force Garoppolo to beat them, and that dude is trying to play with like a torn. I think he said he had like a torn labrum and a sprained ankle. Like I don't know how this dude's gonna throw the freaking football. He already can't throw to begin with, and how he's gonna try and do this. So
screens, nothing but screens.
I mean, I'm interested to see how Shanahan can be creative with trying to get Green Bay's defense into putting their heavy personnel on the field and then spreading all those tight ends and fullbacks out and trying to take away matchups. But I just don't think that Garoppolo can beat anybody right now. So I'm going to pick Green Bay.
I personally think that it's going to come down to how Green Bay. I don't like the bye personally. Let's start off with that. I don't like having a bye, especially a team that's rolling. It could really mess with what you've been working on throughout the whole year, and you see a lot of times those are the teams that continue to go on further and further into the playoffs. Is teams that got hot at the end of the year and continue to into the playoffs. Eli Manning and the Giants when they beat the Patriots dynasties there. So, but that's why I'm going to still go with the Packers because I think the Aaron Rodgers will have them ready. But Aaron Rodgers doesn't practice as it is. So, I can't even tell you last time he did practice. So, realistically, last time he played a game was 2 weeks ago and he only played half of it.
Yeah.
So, it's tough. You could see a little sloppy play at the beginning. So, if San Fran can get out to a lead and actually work the run game and hold it, I think that's going to be their best chance in this one. But with that being said, I'm still going to go the Packers.
I'm going to go with the upset. I'm going to go with the Niners. I feel like that Shanahan will have something ready and planned, and like Rob was saying, with trying to get the Green Bay's heavy sets out there, and then being able to spread the ball out, with having Kittle and Juszczyk and some of the other talented like tight ends and fullbacks that they have, they can do that very easily as well. And they can very. I think the Niners are one of the best teams being able to manipulate the field based off of the personnel because they can show up with one personnel and it can play into any other personnel.
Yeah, calls it positionless football.
Mm-hmm. No, so I'm going to take the Niners, and I think that defense is going to I think the defense is going to do okay against the Packers.
If Nick Bosa plays,
yeah,
he's also listed as questionable. So.
As my gamble. Also, interesting that on Saturday, both the teams that had a bye are playing. Don't know if that was planned or not, but that's kind of interesting now that I just noticed that. Sunday, we got Rams at Buccaneers.
I just don't. I don't know. Like I just don't know how. I don't see a way that the Buccaneers can win.
Like, this is the first time all season where like we're kind of like it's one of those things. It's like how do they win this? You know, like that sort of thing.
Well, especially, I mean, from everything I've seen, like Tristan Wirfs has like a 2% chance of playing. And then, like, I don't know if you guys saw did you watch their game against the Eagles? Like, so Tristan Wirfs hurt his ankle or something. Then Arians forced him back onto the field, and Brady got sacked 5 times against the Eagles. I mean, the Rams don't even blitz, and they get chaos and pressure. With Von Miller, who's got a great history of sacking Brady. Aaron Donald is Aaron Donald. Like, I just don't know how they're going to do it. I don't know what receiver is going to be able – Mike Evans is going to get locked up by Ramsey.
Yeah.
So you need Tyler Johnson and Cyril Grayson to try and win.
Scotty Miller.
And kind of a wild one thrown out there that I don't know if a lot of people have known or not. They brought Eric Weddle back, and he played last week and got an interception.
Yeah, your mother could have picked off Kyler Murray last week.
Oh, of course my mom could have, but still, I'm just saying having someone with that sort of the smarts that he does.
Yeah.
In the back end as well.
I will say, to that same end, to me, this is a very low-scoring game. This reminds me of the Super Bowl between the Rams and Patriots, where this might be a game where no one actually gets a touchdown. The difference, obviously, being Stafford can throw the ball deep, whereas Goff couldn't. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. The Bucs defense, they fly around. They'll be able to shut down that offense when it comes to running the ball. So it really comes down to can they cover?
Akers looked phenomenal last week coming off an injury.
He did.
Phenomenal.
We all know the Bucs' run defense is the best in the NFL. Maybe not statistically, but we know in big games, no one can run the ball on them. So, I mean, I don't know if that secondary is going to be able to hold up with, Sean Murphy bunting out there, but we'll see.
Man, this one is. I feel like this one, like you're saying,
I'm gonna pick Tom Brady because when in doubt, you go with the better quarterback, and Tom Brady is a way better quarterback. So I'll pick the Bucs, but I have zero confidence in this pick.
Well, I guess the thing we've talked a lot about the defenses, which then it's like, okay, so which offense is gonna fuck up first? And
I think you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna pick the Bucs, but I'm gonna lock the Rams. That way I get a point no matter what this game.
I'm gonna pick the Rams.
Oh my goodness.
I'm gonna pick the Rams. I just like what Stafford's been able to do now that he actually has like a full team around him and not just Calvin Johnson.
I love that you go back to his receiver from 10 years ago.
Yeah, because that's the only thing he's had, Rob. It's the only thing he's had. Stop trying to take it away from him.
I'm curious because the Rams offense isn't set up to play. Like they're not great against teams that can actually play man to man and bring pressure, which is what the Bucs do. But at the same time, their receivers are so explosive that if they do get up on you, they can easily score a touchdown. So, it really comes down to, can the Rams run the football? If the Rams can run the football, they're going to win in a landslide, I think. But if they can't run the football, I don't see how they're going to score points.
Fedger?
I guess you can say the same thing for the Bucs. If they can run the football, they'll be fine.
And that's what I'm going to say. I'm going to go back to it's going to depend more on health, as it always does in the playoffs, right, guys?
Yep.
If they do not get Rojo or Fournette back for this game, I don't see how they stand a chance. I'm not saying that the Buccaneers are going to be able to successfully any type of be able to run the ball on the Rams,
True. I
but
forgot
just
Joe was hurt too.
yeah. So just the simple fact of having an option to run the ball.
You don't think
is huge.
Le'Veon Bell can carry the load?
No, it's huge for that team to be able to play auction off of, which Tom Brady's made a living on over multiple years. With that being said, I still am going to Bucks because I like their matchup better with Cameron Brate and Rob Gronkowski in the middle. They can go ahead and shut down Mike Evans all they want.
Yep.
I think the middle of the field is going to be open for them to exploit, and Tom Brady will take what you give him. I trust Brady over
Stafford.
To hold on to protect
now
the ball.
About it though, you make a good point. I think they might live in like 13 personnel and play with Gronk.
I would 100% do that.
OJ Howard, so that the Rams have to sit there and all right, hey, all your great DBs, yeah, get them off the goddamn field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put more
Get your DBs off the field.
Yeah.
What's his name? Rapp's supposed to be coming back for the Rams. Well, guess what? Good luck trying to have him cover Brate or Gronkowski.
Yeah.
And honestly, same thing in the run game. If you don't bring someone down, Von Miller's not gonna.
Von Miller's terrible in the run game.
Exactly. He's not gonna match up with Gronk. He's not gonna match up with Brate.
Yeah.
Run downhill at him, and I think you got to stay at that. And like I said, it's going to come down to, even if you're not running the ball successfully, the ability to play action off that is going to be huge. And like I said, using the big guys in the middle is huge. So I'm going to stick with Tom Brady, more so because I picked him to go against Super Bowl against the Bills. So I want my pick to stay alive.
Fair.
So go Bucs!
Nothing the Bills do matters unless they beat Tom Brady in the Super Bowl.
Oh my!
They got to get over the Tom Brady hump. They got over the Patriots hump. They got to get over the top. By the way, so this is completely off topic. So on the radio this week, they've been talking about if the Patriots made a mistake getting rid of Tom Brady and all this crap. And a caller calls in and goes, "They definitely made a mistake. You know Tom Brady's record against the Bills? He's 34-3. You think he'd let them beat them?" I was like, is he really 34-3 against the Bills? They looked it up. And that one of the 3 losses was the last game of the season where he only played a half.
Yeah.
And they were winning 20. They were winning 21-9 at the half, and then he got benched, and Garoppolo blew the game.
That's not true. We were winning at halftime that game.
Final game of the weekend. It is Bills at Chiefs.
Before we get into this one, did you know that Ryan Fitzpatrick is the only person to beat the Patriots on every AFC East team?
Yes, I did.
Now here's my question though. If he goes to the Patriots,
He won't.
and he ties with the
They won't
team.
spend money.
If he ties with the team though, and he goes to the Patriots and he ties as a starting quarterback, would that technically mean then that he has literally beaten every single team? Every single team?
Unless he goes in there and has one of his 4 interception games and they lose because he threw 4 interceptions, 2 pick sixes. Yeah, then he beat his own team. So there you go.
There we go. We need it to happen. Make it happen.
Also doable.
make it happen, Fitz.
No, I would hate to go against Fitz. He's the man. All right, game of the week.
Honestly, I don't think this is the game of the week. I think the Bills blow them out. I don't think Kansas City's as good as they have been years past. I think Pat Mahomes is very sloppy with the football. They haven't played a team that's this good defensively, especially against the pass. They're so good against the pass. It's unreal. And they built their team to beat the Chiefs. So I don't see a way that the Chiefs can put up that many points.
We're seeing a lot more of Mahomes struggling this season. Underthrows, short throws, wild throws, erratic throws. And we're seeing a lot more of the bullshit like, oh, I'm gonna roll this way, then throw back to this guy who's then gonna catch it and throw back to me, and then I'm gonna catch it, and then I'm gonna do a little dance, and I'm gonna throw it to someone else, and then they're gonna try to score a touchdown. Then I'm gonna get it and throw it to someone else, and then he scores a touchdown. We're seeing a lot more of that shit from the Chiefs than the old like, look at Mahomes throw this nice ball to Tyreek Hill over the middle of the field.
Well, that's because everyone has figured out if you want to get rid of Tyreek Hill, play 2 deep safeties.
Oh, yeah, we saw it. We called it last year, didn't we?
Tyreek Hill's useless, and then it's just it's forced the ball to Kelsey.
Yeah, we called that last year before the Super Bowl.
They don't throw the ball to Nicole Hardman ever.
Yeah.
So, if you can do that, then again, the Bills have the 2 best safety game, I think, right now, and
fair.
I don't see Tyreek Hill. I mean, honestly, I think the Bills are good enough where they could probably just bracket Hill and then bracket Kelsey and say, "Go ahead, beat us."
Mm-hmm.
Like,
well, what I'm getting at is like you're seeing a lot more of like the normal stuff from the Chiefs. Meanwhile, the Bills are just going out and playing football. They're just going out and beating the shit out of people. Meanwhile, the Chiefs are having to do all this fancy like trick plays and bullshit and misdirection, and like Mahomes goes to motion, then motions back under center, and like they're doing a lot of that shit. Well, and like they're winning because of it. That's the only reason why they're winning.
A lot of that's their red zone stuff because teams have made them have to drive the ball down the field now.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
I
do think one big point is the Bills have to be able to protect Allen because the Chiefs are good at getting after the quarterback.
I'm going Bills. I think the Bills are playing better football than the Chiefs, and I feel like the Chiefs are literally just there. The Chiefs are having to dig deep into their playbook now because teams have figured out what they do.
Cricket.
Sorry, what happened? My remote shut off. What was the last stop?
We all picked the Bills.
Yeah, I picked Bills.
So
Bills. I went Bills because I think the Chiefs are digging deep into their bag of tricks.
Yeah,
literal bag of yeah.
So my thing is do I think the Bills can win? Yes, obviously we already showed that we can beat them there. Do I think we will win? I'm hoping so as a fan. And the realistic side of me, I'm gonna put out things. Obviously, stopping Tyreek Hill. He's kind of trying to develop more of a route tree, and then obviously Travis Kelce in the middle, as we've stated. The issue here is that last time we played him, we had Tre'Davious White, who we do not have now with his ACL injury. Mm-hmm. The defense has kind of showed up even without Tre'Davious White, but outside of Tom Brady, this is really the first real quarterback, I'm going to say, that you've played without Tre'Davious White. So it does. Yeah, Mac Jones is not a real quarterback.
This is an 81 Honda.
What?
I was not talking about Mac Jones.
Well. So since it happened, we've played a half against Trevor Siemian. We've played Tom Brady. We've played Mac Jones twice. We played Zach Wilson. We've played Matt Ryan, Cam Newton. So yes, yep. I'm gonna go back to my original statement.
A lot of good quarterbacks there.
So that's my thing. Is obviously you got to be able to slow the team. I think we're gonna be able to score. I mean, our offense is coming into a good stretch, especially being able to run the ball, and then not only with Allen. Obviously, he helps your stats, but you still got Singletary, who has been playing really well lately. I think averaging over 80 yards a game, which what else can you really ask for? Your starting running back. My big thing is, as you guys said, taking care of the offensive line and keeping them off Allen. The Bills are currently have not given up a sack in 4 games.
Yeah, what
would that be?
There was a couple last game that
what?
Blatant no calls, but it didn't matter. At that point, the game was already over. It didn't matter.
You talking about holding penalties or something?
I'm talking about your left tackle literally grabbing someone from behind and throwing him down. It was quite funny.
Yeah, no one's getting called. I mean, there was 8 penalties called in the whole game. I think we talked about that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just nothing was getting called, and that's my last point there. Right. Is how much because people are like, oh yeah, you're already starting to blame the refs and all this stuff. Okay, so the crew that they're getting this week called the second least penalties for defensive holding or defensive pass interference. And as everyone knows, the Chiefs like to hold and tug on you and all that fun stuff in the secondary, which is why they got exposed against the Bucs last year. So it really depends on me more so. The Bills match whatever they're playing on defense. If they're letting them play, the Bills got to adjust and do some pulling and tugging and holding and physicality at the line. Or are they going to call it like they did against them last year in the Super Bowl? So that's my couple takeaways. Obviously, I'm picking the Bills, but I'm a realistic fan. And I don't think it's going to be a blowout. So
Singletary is the difference.
Yep.
Agreed. Also, I mean, another thing is, Clyde Edwards-Helaire playing kind of adds another thing to him. Darrell Williams hurt himself apparently on that fumble. I don't know if it was just his will was hurt on that fumble last game against the Steelers, or if he was actually hurt. But Jerick McKinnon came in and actually I thought looked pretty good and added another dimension to that offense they didn't have before. When you're dropping to the sticks essentially every play, and then you can throw underneath McKinnon, and you're having tough time coming up and tackling him in space, let alone even short of the sticks. So that's tough in general, but again, I think it'll be an interesting matchup.
That's what happens if you play zone.
That's exactly, yep.
You don't have to play zone against the Chiefs.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting. So
there we go. There's the divisional matchups, the divisional picks. Let us know what your guys' picks are down in the comments down below. Final statements, boys.
Let's go Buffalo.
Bills
Let's go Bengals.
Tom Brady.
So then I can go to the AFC Championship game.
Whoop, whoop. There we go. All right. And as always, depending on where you are, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Still trouble, stay safe, and we'll talk to you all later.
Jeff, if they make it to
Bye.
the Super Bowl, you're gonna go.
I've talked about it.
Oh.